What's up, Vikings Nation? I'll be honest with you, my mind wasn't fully on football this weekend, but when the Minnesota Vikings story keeps evolving like this, there's no way we don't lock back in. The NFL never sleeps, and neither do the questions, rumors, and dominoes waiting to fall. With the Super Bowl spotlight shining bright and the playoffs reaching their final chapter, the rest of the league has already shifted into off-season chaos mode. Coaching changes, front office decisions, and roster debates are flying everywhere, and the Vikings are right in the middle of it. So today, we're breaking down everything that matters right now for the Minnesota Vikings. Coaching stability, Brian Flores' future, draft evaluations, quarterback questions, and what this all means for the road ahead. Stick with me because this one connects a lot of dots. As the NFL postseason narrows down to the league's final contenders, one thing becomes clear every year. Once your season ends, the pressure turns up fast. This offseason has already delivered a wave of coaching changes across the league, and the ripple effects are still moving. There were 10 head coach openings this cycle, matching the same number from a few years ago when Kevin O'Connell landed the Vikings job. And here's the wild part. From that entire hiring class, only O'Connell and Todd Bowles are still with the teams that hired them. That kind of turnover tells you how fragile stability really is in the NFL, which makes what the Vikings are building right now feel even more important, especially with chaos unfolding everywhere else. Several teams have already made their moves, locking in new head coaches and reshaping their identities. Some went with familiar faces, others took swings on defensive minds or culture builders, and a few surprised the entire league. Meanwhile, teams like the Bills, Browns, Cardinals, and Raiders are still sorting things out. That means there are still jobs open, leverage shifting, and opportunities that could directly impact Minnesota, especially when it comes to assistants and coordinators. Every unresolved hire is another domino standing upright. And Vikings fans know all too well that when dominoes fall, they don't fall in isolation. One move can reshape multiple franchises overnight. That brings us straight to Brian Flores, a name that has stayed hot throughout this entire coaching cycle. Flores officially signed a new contract with the Minnesota Vikings, bringing immediate clarity but not complete closure. Flores interviewed for multiple head coaching openings, and while he could still be hired away, this new deal gives Minnesota something extremely valuable: time. Time to evaluate prospects, time to plan scheme fits, and time to build continuity on defense. With college all-star games happening right now, that stability matters more than people realize. The Vikings can scout with confidence, knowing exactly what kind of defenders fit Flores' aggressive, attacking system. Right now, NFL evaluators are scattered across the country. The East-West Shrine Bowl is underway in Texas, and the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama is once again the crown jewel of draft evaluation season. For the Vikings, these events are massive. This is where coaching staffs and scouts get live reps, interviews, and scheme versatility that film alone can't provide. Defensive fits, leadership traits, and adaptability all show up here. And with Minnesota's defensive identity becoming clearer under Flores, every rep watched is filtered through that lens. This isn't random scouting, it's targeted, intentional roster building. One name that continues to surface internally and among fans is Redmond, a player who quietly turned into a force. If you watched the tape closely this season, you saw it. If you followed the metrics, you really saw it. Redmond took a major leap compared to 2024, grading well across multiple advanced categories. Pressure rate, tackles for loss, disruption at the line. This wasn't accidental production. This was development paying off. The Vikings are genuinely excited about his trajectory, and so should the fan base. When a player earns respect from both film grinders and analytics people, you're looking at something real. What makes Redmond's story even better is how he got here. Minnesota's relentless scouting process in the summer of 2024 paid off, proving once again that patience and conviction can uncover real contributors. As an exclusive rights free agent heading into 2026, Redmond is almost guaranteed to remain in purple. That gives the Vikings leverage, but also a decision to make about how much they value long-term security. With stat lines that jump off the page, tackles, sacks, forced fumbles, passes batted, the buzz is only growing. And if Minnesota waits too long, the rest of the NFL will be lining up. Now let's shift gears to the quarterback room, Because yes, Vikings fans are always thinking about it. A question that keeps popping up is whether Minnesota could look at Malik Willis as a potential addition. Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah have been clear. The QB room needs depth, talent, and flexibility. That could mean a free agent, a trade, or a strategic veteran presence. Willis is still young, athletic, and has flashed growth as a backup. The real question isn't talent. It's cost, timing, and fit within Minnesota's developmental timeline. The quarterback market this offseason is tricky. Some names will demand serious money, others carry injury concerns, and a few fall right into that upside gamble category. Willis could price himself out if multiple teams see him as more than just a backup. Meanwhile, other veterans bring experience but limit long-term growth. For the Vikings, this isn't about chasing headlines. It's about supporting the future without blocking it, and that balance is harder than it sounds. Another major question fans asked earlier was about compensatory picks tied to Brian Flores. At the time, his contract situation made things unclear. Now that Flores has re-signed, the picture is much cleaner. If he is eventually hired away as a head coach, Minnesota would be in line for compensatory draft picks, a significant return. That's the kind of forward-thinking protection good front offices put in place. Even when you lose talent, you make sure the organization benefits long-term. Perspective matters, and one fan nailed it perfectly: expectations. Many analysts projected Minnesota around a .500 team, especially with a young quarterback learning on the fly. Winning in this league with a first-year starter is rare. Development isn't linear, and patience isn't optional. It's required. The Vikings know this is a multi-year vision, and the progress shown late in the season matters far more than early stumbles. When you look at the 2024 quarterback class, the comparisons are unavoidable. Every one of those players will be tied together forever. Some found early team success, others benefited from elite defenses or veteran rosters. But development paths differ, and age, reps, and health matter. That's where Minnesota believes it has something valuable: time. And time is the one thing you can't buy in this league. The decision to move forward with J.J. McCarthy instead of chasing short-term fixes was bold, especially after winning games with a veteran bridge quarterback. But the Vikings chose growth over comfort, learning reps over safety nets. And that choice defines what kind of franchise they want to be. With McCarthy entering a healthy offseason, the belief is that the leap forward is coming. Not guaranteed, but possible. Of course, fans will always dream. Aaron Rodgers' name sparks emotion, memories, and what-ifs across Vikings history. Yes, experience can mask flaws. Yes, mentorship matters. But age, health, and timeline all factor in. This isn't about nostalgia. It's about direction. And Minnesota seems committed to building something sustainable, not chasing one last spark. Draft criticism is fair. Every front office gets evaluated on results, not intentions. Hits matter, but so does how quickly you recover from misses. Free agency success, undrafted finds, and internal development all play a role. And Minnesota has quietly done better in those areas than many realize. Continuity on defense and patience on offense could be the formula that finally clicks. Finally, the offensive line, the foundation of everything. Injuries, constant shuffling, and instability made life harder for everyone involved. Letting go of the position coach wasn't about blame, it was about change. And change is necessary when results fall short. The Vikings know protection must improve. And whatever comes next, you can be sure it's a priority going into the new season. If you're still here, you're a real one. Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially on Flores, the QB room, and the draft. Do you trust the process? Or are you ready for a shakeup? Smash that like button, subscribe for daily Minnesota Vikings news, and share this with every Vikings fan you know. This is our team. This is our journey. And the story is far from finished. Purple Heart Fire.